What is going on? This is episode 210 of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh, and on this NPC mini, I got a player too, Casey from Talk Nintendo. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, it's not going too bad. A pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so glad to have you. So glad to have you. Guys, that music you just heard is from On Being Human. Check them out on Spotify and YouTube. They're good dudes. They also have a really funny podcast if you want to check it out. I don't even know if they still do it, but they did. The only thing is they would do snack reviews during the show, so they're just crunching on crackers the entire podcast, and you're like...
Quality podcasting,
this
right?
is
Just
not
sounds
what
of
yeah.
people.
They're like, man, these bacon Cheez-Its are the best. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. Remember, this is an unofficial Nintendo podcast, and if you'd like to get yourself a free book from Audible, head on over to audibletrial.com/NPC. Pick up something awesome like Blood, Sweat, and Pixels or Ready Player One. The chair I'm sitting in is from OP Seat. If you go to n64josh.com/OP Seat, you automatically save $10 at checkout. I love these gaming chairs, guys. I highly, highly recommend. I also use the desk. It's good stuff. So check it out. n64josh.com/OP Seat. And last but not least, if you'd like to pick up my book, Another Castle is available on Kindle and as a paperback with the new updated cover. You can head on over to n64josh.com/Another Castle. And if you sign up for Kindle Unlimited, you can actually read the book for free. So there you go. Go check it out there. With that, we're going to get to the announcements.
Hey, listen.
Well, I have some bad news, guys. Bad news if you were hoping I was going to be playing Mario Kart this weekend with you, because it turns out I'm actually going to be heading to the cabin in the woods again. So I'm leaving right after this show. So I won't be here for late night Mario Kart, and I won't be here for the tournament. I'm sorry. I think we're coming back Sunday, so maybe a Sunday stream and definitely a Monday stream. So we will see you guys then. But yeah, stay tuned to n64josh.com and to my YouTube channel, because there is going to be a slew of Mario Maker content coming your way starting this weekend. And if you guys missed it, on n64josh.com already is some tips for designing levels, because I know a lot of you have told me that you don't feel like you're creative, and so that's what I am that's what I'm focusing on, is like how to create these, not necessarily like, oh, put this block here, that kind of stuff, but just how to tackle level creation just mentally. So that's where we're starting. All right, so you can check that out at n64josh.com. Of course, we got the Mario project going. If you guys want to get involved with that, head on over to n64josh.com/the Mario project, where you get to submit your stories to me, and I am going to get them up on Amazon as a paperback and a Kindle. We're gonna compile. This is the first one, and I've been getting a handful of submissions. My only request, guys, make sure to send me a link to a Google Doc. All right, so that I can keep them all in one place really easy. Right. So other than that, we're gonna jump into the content. That's enough for announcements and everything. We're gonna get to the content.
Who chooses the wilderness over Mario Kart 8 though? I mean,
it's
up, man.
I know, but it's our favorite. It's one of our favorite places to be. So, yeah, whatever. All right, hey, let's jump on over to the news, and then we're gonna get to know Casey. So, real quick, do you happen to know Average Josh in the chat? Because he keeps talking about a Jets hat. So I'm just curious if you know him.
I do know Average Josh.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's an okay guy. He's from the Carolinas, so I don't even know what football team. I mean, I guess the Panthers, but
well, he keeps he keeps asking who's the jerk in the Jets hat, and I'm like, I don't want somebody attacking my guess, but if it's a friend poking fun, then I totally get it. So
well, he might not be my friend anymore, but he's a guy I certainly know.
Gotcha.
Like I need any more harassment being a Jets fan, it's like, come on, that's enough punishment as it is. So.
Yeah, the team's never gonna win, so
Mets, Jets, Islanders, I like all the worst teams, man.
No, it's all good, man. All right, well, let's talk news real quick. Mario Kart Tour beta. Are you Android or iPhone?
I'm iPhone, but
Yes.
I do not have the beta, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but I've been hearing some good things about it.
Have you? What have you heard?
Because I believe I know someone on site, Neil Ronahan, actually, he's the owner of Nintendo World Report. He is always about like how Mario Kart has like a terrible single player campaign, you know, like it's just not fun to sort of go through there, which it's like, I don't completely agree. I mean, I love Mario Kart, so it's like even just going through all the races, but I believe you're saying that there was like a challenge mode or something that like sort of resembles like, I believe from the DS game, right? Mario Kart DS was the one with some sort of challenge mode back in the day.
Yes, that is correct.
Right? Okay, so I know he was saying that not like fully back, but there are challenges in this mode or this game. So I know he was really excited about those.
Got it. Okay, that's cool.
Have you gotten are you in?
I'm all iPhone, so I got no I got no beta. That's, you know, those all you lucky Android users got to try it, but not me.
I need to get an Android.
It was no, you don't. It was I'm just kidding. I drink Pepsi and Coke. I don't really care what you use.
Well, you had me at I drink Pepsi, man. I was like a man after my own heart, and then the Coke too. God.
I know, I'm terrible. So it's funny because Nintendo had in the little fine print saying, "Hey, do not share video or screenshots," and it took less than it would take you to complete a lap before there were video and screenshots on the internet. And so, you know, I woke up really early Wednesday, jumped right onto YouTube and checked out. I just want to see the gameplay, right? That was my biggest thing with this. It's like, yeah, it's cool. I don't get to play the beta, but I just really want to see the gameplay, right? That's what I wanted to see, and it looks like
will it hold up, yeah.
Yeah, it's one-handed Mario Kart, right? You're playing with the phone in portrait mode. I think there was a lot of people hoping for landscape and, you know, some gyro controls, things like that. I mean, I can remember back on like the iPhone 3, there was I believe it was a Crash kart race, like, you know, Crash
Team.
Yeah, something. It was a kart racer on the iPhone, and it actually was decent. It was okay. I remember a kid showing me like, "Oh, I could steer with the phone," and I was like, "Well, I mean, that's kind of cool. I probably wouldn't play it, but it was for a kart racer. It was like, that's not too bad." So
yeah, I'm not really big into phone game. Like I played Mario Run and like I downloaded Pocket Camp for like 3 seconds, but I mean, I'll definitely play this when it does come out eventually. But I personally can't get that excited about a phone game, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's kind of nice to just have if maybe you don't have your Switch with you. You just the cabin. You know, but maybe you're getting your oil changed or something. You just like real quick give you something to do if you're done checking out Twitter or Reddit or whatever. So it's been so divided on what I've heard. Some people I see are like, "Oh, this game is going to be so microtransaction heavy that it's not even going to be fun." And then I see other people saying, "Oh, I think you're going to be able to do just fine." Like, we know there is some kind of a stamina system where essentially you have to buy gas if you want to keep racing within the hour, right?
Real life Mario Kart.
But from what I'm hearing, and again, this is all secondhand, so bear with me, is that a lot of people aren't having that much, like, it doesn't take that long. It's not like you could race for 5 minutes and then you're going to have to wait an hour to refill, right? It seems like it's relatively quick.
Yeah.
And it also seems like because I think it's based on hearts, and the hearts as you use up the heart container or whatever, that's like your gas. You can also, I think you can store extra ones from my understanding. Again, I haven't played, so I'm just trying to piece this stuff together. But overall, it seems like a relatively positive experience. The one thing, and I saw Game Explain put up video, like, I posted in my Discord, I'm like, "Guys, are you playing against people or are you playing against bots?" And everybody's like, "Well, I think we're playing against bots, but they all have kind of weird names or whatever, you know,
like randomly generated." No, you're playing with real people.
Yeah, so still kind of curious on how all of this is going to pan out, you know. So overall, it seems like it's a more positive than negative experience. But again, until I can go hands on and formulate my own opinion, I'm still fairly optimistic. Again, my initial, like, I put up an article immediately, and it was just kind of like the stamina thing was like, oh man, I hope that's not going to be like, some of the monetization strategy with this game feels a little bit dated, and I almost wonder if Nintendo couldn't, with a game like Mario Kart, take almost a more Fortnite approach and just sell skins. Right?
Yeah, make a me character and let you do whatever,
But not,
because I am looking at the, like, on the wiki here, there are quite a few playable characters. I mean, a bunch of baby versions and the Koopa kids, so
Right.
that sort of pads the numbers a little bit. But yeah, yeah, it's so frustrating. That's why, like, to me, like, that's why I loved Mario Run's, like, approach. Like, just, I want to give you the $10, like, just give me the game and let me play it. And, like, granted, that game didn't have a ton of content. I mean, unless if you were going for all, like, the, multiple coin runs, which, I did. I'll admit, like, I went through and I got all the coins and all that. And I actually had a pretty good time with Mario Run, especially for a mobile game. I mean, easily the game that has kept my attention the most, in the mobile sphere. But yeah, I just hate that it's like, people were so pissed off, like, how could they charge $10, but, like, they were fine getting nickeled and dimed. I don't know, it's just a weird marketplace, like, I guess just being a traditional gamer for as long as I can remember, like, just, I buy the game and I get to play it,
Right.
so it's sort of weird to have to double, triple dip or whatever, for extra little bonuses. And I guess, like, some other, like, Fire Emblem and those games sort of have those elements, right? Of, like, like, you could play, just you'll have to wait, or you could, throw a little money and play more now. And I know that those games have been way more beneficial to them than Mario Run was, financially. So, I mean, it makes sense that they would go with that approach. But it's weird because, like you said, it's like Nintendo is always sort of forefront with the thinking, right? So, like, you'd think they'd try, instead of conforming to, like, I mean, but I guess it's a proven method, But I would love to see, like, a more Nintendo-y approach to how they could monetize this, but I don't know what that is,
no, exactly. Well, and like I said, with cost, like, if it was cosmetic stuff, just sell different, like, paint jobs on the carts, right? Sell different racing outfits for the character, like, put Mario in different costumes, put Bowser and his cat, like, they have such a deep well that they could dig from. Whereas, like, if somebody wants to spend the money on that, they're able to, but they don't. Just like Fortnite, right? It's a fun game first and foremost for some people. I know that's debatable, but then after that, if you want to like change the way it looks or whatever, you have that option, and I think that's good. I opened up
even like
Fire Emblem when you mentioned it, and I've never spent any money on Fire Emblem. I've come close to buying the starter pack, which is only like it's like let me see, it's $4. You get 12 orbs and then some other stuff and a special character, which I thought was cool. But I've never done it. Right now, I'm sitting at 186 orbs in Fire Emblem. Okay, if I was going to purchase 140 orbs, it would cost me $75. Okay,
that's a lot of cabbage.
all I do is turn this game on once a day, collect the free orbs that they give, and then when there's new characters to summon, I summon them. And if there ends up being a group of characters that I'm like, at one point I had over 800 orbs. So they give this stuff away for free.
So they're still putting that option out there, but they're not making it so limited that you feel like you need to do it, which is totally, a Nintendo approach. Of course they're going to give you both options. And the way you were saying with the gas, if it's similar to that, where you can collect enough where you don't feel pressured, I guess that's really the point of contention, right? Where you feel like you need to spend the money to actually get the enjoyment. If you could play the game and, even if it's, I can't play for 8 hours a day, but I could play for a half hour to an hour here and there throughout the day without spending a dime. I feel like that's sort of a point where you could get into it, you could be excited and not have to spend any money. But again, like you said, if you want to, that sort of has that option for you.
Yeah, and the thing is if you think about a mobile game, most people are going to pick it up for between probably 5 and 20 minutes typically, right? And I think for those of us that play that way, I don't think we're going to have an issue. And it's not that I'm against mobile, like, of course there's people that put in the work to create a game for us. Like, I have no problem throwing some money at it, especially if I'm investing a ton of time. With Fire Emblem, I don't play the game. I like the collecting part of that game, and that's it. So it's not like I felt like I've invested a bunch of time and it's like, man, I've spent 100 hours playing this game and I've never given them a dime. No, if I played it that much, I probably would be more apt to like, oh, I'll buy that starter pack, and I still may do it, whatever. But I'm not. What's kind of weird is I feel like in a certain way, mobile gaming and people, you look at like Candy Crush, things like that, where it was like there were people like I have a family member who spent over $1,000 in 1 month on Candy Crush.
Jeez.
And
that's crazy.
And they didn't realize. They just kept, oh, I want my next turn. That is,
and that's what the developer's hoping for, right? The quote unquote white whales or whatever they call it, the terminology for it. I guess that's sort of 99 cents, like whatever. That's like less than a cup of coffee. Who cares, But then all of a sudden you find yourself smacking that thing 10 times a day. All of a sudden they get you.
Yeah.
But it's funny how you mentioned Fortnite. It would sort of be interesting if they did like the battle pass, right? If there was like a race ticket or something where it's like, it's $3 for the month, and you as you play, you unlock, like you said, maybe some items, customization things, but then also are entered into like a global tournament, and you accumulate points through racing, and then this would promote people to continuously play throughout the month. And then maybe like I'm assuming a number of people, let's say into the tens and hundred, whatever, of thousands of people who get in, maybe the top 100 get like a little name next, or a little something, an icon, a mushroom next to their name to indicate, hey, they placed in the top 100, and then you could narrow it down to where the top 3 get exclusive things for being that good and doing that well. But it would be an interesting sort of take. Because I think the Battle Pass is just such a brilliant way. Like I played Fortnite when it came out, and I haven't played in a while, and I wasn't even huge into it, but I was like, the Battle Pass just seems like a good value. It's like I'm playing this game a lot. It's completely free, and you know what? What's it, $9 or whatever it is? I don't feel bad doing that, and then I'm going to earn these things, and if I play enough, I'm going to earn enough for the next Battle Pass, I think that's like a really smart approach, and I wonder if Nintendo could sort of emulate and riff off that in some way. I don't think they would, but it would be interesting.
Yeah, it seems like there are more creative ways to go about monetization. I'm just always curious on how companies end up doing it. The one thing I think, and I haven't played this, but if we don't get to race against each other, which I could see that being a thing that doesn't really happen. Maybe it does. I don't know. At the very least, I think what we should be racing against is ghosts and people's actual time trial, like their runs, right?
Their data, yeah.
Like you're playing against their ghost data basically, and so I think that could be pretty cool. But we'll see. I feel because it's Mario Kart, I have higher expectations for this mobile game than I would any other mobile game because I'm just such a huge Mario Kart nut. But
it's a big brand, man. It's like they can't just poop out any little thing and smack a Mario Kart on it, because then it's going to tarnish when Mario Kart 9 comes out.
Right.
And I mean, honestly, if it was a crappy game, I don't think it would really hurt the sales, but it hurts the image. It's like you've come to hear Mario Kart and assume quality, like it's going to be a good game, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be filled with really great things. And if they sort of crap out a game that isn't that good, it's sort of like, well, like, yeah, I don't know. It just, like you said, you sort of just expect more.
Yeah, I mean, and Animal Crossing has had some issues, right? You've had Amiibo Festival, which was like, what is this?
Good Lord.
And then you got, and then Pocket Camp has as time has gone on, and then you find out about the development of that game, and it was like they scrapped the whole thing, and then basically, it was close
and
to
even
just
going back to Happy Home Designer, like, while not like a horrible game, it just, again, it's just sort of like, okay, this feels like it should just be part of the base game,
Right. Yeah. So, that means they're not in the process of trying new things. There's still the chance that you can tarnish the brand, right? Like,
yeah.
And Amiibo Festival really was just that was the oddest one. Like what's going on? But you know what?
Power tennis, man. The Wii U needed games.
Yes. And the thing that I wonder, and this is like kind of off topic, but I wonder if Amiibo Festival was like, hey, we have Animal Crossing assets and we're working on a game, but internally somebody had to know about the Switch at this point, right? Like, and so maybe they're just kind of like, why don't we just put this off? Why at this late in the Wii U's life cycle, Animal Crossing's not going to move the consoles we need it to, and so like let's just put Animal Crossing's name on something, So because the other problem with the Wii U is that you had that Animal Crossing little like town that you could download and like go and check your clock. It was like your main menu. And so it was like, oh, Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
So,
the Wii U and Animal Crossing, man, not a good pairing.
No,
apparently.
No, but you play Wild World on it, and you could play City Folk. So.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Oh yeah. Amiibo Festival. No.
Right. Yeah. So back to the news here. DC Universe Online coming to the Switch this summer. Kind of out of left field. I don't know that anybody was really expecting this one. And a couple of little notes here. It looks like they were being interviewed by CBR.com. I'm not familiar with that site, but they talking about the Switch says it's very important to me that our community stay the same and up to speed. I don't want the Switch to be in a book all to itself. I wanted other communities to benefit from the improvements that we were making and vice versa. And then the creative director, S.J. Mueller, also shared the following here. It says, and this is, I'm on NintendoLife.com, guys. I do have a link in the show notes if you want to check it out. It says, it doesn't matter what level you are, just press the button and suddenly you're in Gotham, where everything's happening. On the Switch, fans get to try it again for the first time. So, kind of pretty cool. Pretty cool. So Delmonic from chat is saying CBR is a site that covers comic book related news. So there you go. So yeah, I mean, hey, everybody always says, put everything on Switch. Here's another one, right? Here's another one. Is this, will you jump into this?
No, I'm not really a big comic book man myself. So I mean, this doesn't really move the needle for me, but it's sort of like the Marvel Alliance, where it's like, again, not really a game that's up my alley, but I am glad that the Switch is just getting more of these games, because I know there are huge fan bases out there that are, stoked for this. I do like Batman. I don't know how much this game revolves. Like, I mean, obviously into Gotham would be pretty cool environment to check out, but it's like, again, yeah, it's just personally not my cup of tea, but hey, like I said, just keep giving us quality games and let everyone enjoy it, Are you into this kind of thing?
I am a comic book fan. I have been ever since I was a kid, The thing with an MMO, I just don't know that I would ever have the time. Like, if I'm going to invest that much time into something, it's probably going to be like Mario Maker 2 or something. You know what I mean? Like to get into a DC based MMO. Yeah, I'm probably not that excited about it. What I think is pretty cool is that the Switch now has quite the collection of free to play games, for anybody, like when you get a brand new Switch, even without purchasing a single game, you got Fortnite, Paladins, soon DC Online,
It was
Arena of Valor. Is that the one? Arena of Valor, is
Yeah,
that what it's called?
That's their. Isn't there just Defenders or something? Blanking on the name
Warframe
now.
is another one.
Honestly, like one of my predictions for E3 this year, I'm thinking I think Overwatch is going to be coming. I mean, I know that's not free to play, but it's like another big sort of ticket game like that. I think is going to come as well, just because people are realizing the Switch is selling like hotcakes. You know, it's like just get your games on there, and it just makes sense. You know.
Yeah,
And then especially for the people who have already fallen into these games on other platforms and want to play on the go. It just gives you more options, you know?
Literally E3 would be like, it would be game over for me if Overwatch showed up, and then if Xbox puts any version of Halo onto the Switch, it would be it. I don't know.
That would be insane. It's like, does Microsoft have the cojones? You know what I mean? Because like I could see them sort of doing like a rare replay, you know, where it's like, all right, it sort of already has roots with Nintendo, right? You know, with Banjo-Kazooie and those kind of things. It's like, but man, would they put the Behemoth on there? I mean, Cuphead was like pretty surprising, you know. I mean, I don't want to say I've never played a Halo game. I've never like played it like I've played multiplayer Halo. I would be down to check out, because I know the people really dig the campaign mode. Like I would love to check that out.
I dig all of it.
That would be
man.
the news of E3 right there. That's how you make a big splash for Nintendo and Microsoft, man.
I can't even imagine. I mean, it would. I feel like it would be such a huge win. Now I'm super biased, right? But I feel like if, you know, and obviously like the absolute pipe dream would be the Master Chief Collection, Halo 1 through 4, right? Like it would, yeah.
Well, that'd be one way to get everyone to talk about everyone but Sony, you know? I mean, I know Sony's not going to be at E3 anyway, but like, I bet you Microsoft and Nintendo would just be like perfect, you know, like especially Microsoft.
Yeah. You brought up Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and there was a video released today. I don't have it in the notes here, guys, but I did see Nintendo tweeted it out, and I think Marvel tweeted it out, showcasing the X-Men, right? Which showcased quite a bit of gameplay, which we hadn't seen a lot of as far as I know. I think there was a boss fight that was released this week that showed Venom, and I think it was Shocker or Electro. I can't remember which, and I only briefly saw it, but the gameplay looks like the classic Ultimate Alliance games that were on the 360 and the PlayStation 3. I'm all in on this one now. Like I am all in, because it's one of those games that, like, unlike an MMO where you're gonna have to invest tons of time, level up, that kind of stuff. This is like you know, you're kind of just your standard, almost like, in a way, it's almost more like a Western RPG in a sense. Like there's a light leveling system. At least that's how the other games were, and I hope that all continues on, where it's like you can increase your attacks, things like that. Like, it just gives you good reason to keep going through the game. But there was also tons of costumes to unlock in the last in the last game. So there's
nice little motivator.
Yeah, there's a ton of potential.
And the art style is really great. It's like I said, I might not be a big, you know, comic book fan, but like watching the video and seeing the gameplay, it's like I really do dig the art style. And like you said, that's one where those costumes are just like, just got to keep playing. Like, I need to get that, you know?
Well, and the thing is, like, the other games, there was a ton of characters, but graphically they weren't the most beautiful games to look at. And I like what they're doing with this one. It has a little more cartoon feel to it, but I think it's very appropriate, especially for the Switch and handheld. Because if anybody is familiar with the other games, the characters on screen would actually be very small and I have a feeling it would actually kind of be a tough game to play. Like, think Diablo, but even with smaller characters. And so I don't know if you played Diablo on Switch, but it played well and it looked decent. But I think the brighter colors and the more cartoony look, like Saturday morning cartoony look, I think I think especially for handheld is a great choice with this. And and
it looks like each character sort of has like an outline. It sort of reminds me of like Smash Bros for 3DS, right? Where it had that sort of line just to sort of, hey, the character's small, but you've sort of had that outline to keep your eye sort of when all the action's sort of going haywire, you know? And obviously this game looks like there's going to be quite a bit of action going on the screen at any given point. So I definitely agree. And like you said, it's a comic book game, right? Mm-hmm. So like to have a more cartoony feel, almost it feels natural, you know? It seems like a good fit.
Yeah, there was a grittiness to the other one that I did appreciate and I liked. This one has a little more shine to it, you know, like they look a little shiny. But I mean, I think
little
overall
Nintendo
it's
wrapping.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's gonna be good. Well, hey, let's get to the second part here and get to know Casey a little bit. Here we go. All right, so Casey, first, tell us a little bit about your podcast and that history right there.
Sure. Well, I am a co-host on the Talk Nintendo podcast, a weekly podcast that has been going on now for 2.5, pushing 3 years. And it's funny because I've been a Nintendo fan forever, right? You know, from the original NES and Super Nintendo, you know, my brother and my dad playing it and me sort of, you know, playing it through them and then eventually being old enough to actually play through. And, you know, up through pretty much my whole life, Nintendo has always been a part of it. And I started, it's actually funny, I had a little bit of a lull during my college years, and then the PS4 came out, and surprisingly enough, that is what sort of re-sparked my interest in Nintendo, strangely enough. I started listening to podcasts, and then I found, you know, Nintendo-related podcasts, and, you know, back into that, and it was always something like I wanted to start a podcast, but it's like I didn't know anyone else like that would be nerdy enough that would like just be like, yeah, let's do a weekly Nintendo podcast. So through Nintendo World Report, it was a game night, and I met Perry, my co-host, and we were playing Splatoon, and then, you know, like, hey, this is fun, like, you want to play again? And, you know, we started connected through Twitter and became friends, and then we played through the entirety of Triforce Heroes, which is an amazing game in the right element. Like, I know it's really not a great game to play solo, but we played through all the challenges online, like super fun, like one of my most fun like multiplayer experiences. And at the end of it, like I was just like, hey man, like would you ever want to do a podcast or something? And he's like, yes. And like a week later, like we were doing a podcast, and we've been doing it ever since. So one of the more proud things is like we've never missed a week. We've actually put out more, you know, there's been weeks when we put out more than one podcast, like when we go to PAX, would be, you know, we sort of do like a roundup of each day kind of podcast. But the general show is like we come in, we talk about what we've been playing for give or take an hour. Then we go over, well, in the beginning, we went over every eShop release of the week, which during the Wii U days, that was, you know, we'd be like, all right, 2 games for the Wii U. Woo,
One game every other week.
Yeah, and then we, you know, the 3DS, and then we, you know, we'd pretty much be like, man, we give us some games to talk about. And then the Switch came out, and we're like, good Lord, man. The one week we missed, it was actually at PAX, and then so the following week we're like, we'll just go through last week's too. Mistake. It was like 70 games, and that sort of sparked our reimagining of it. We call it the new eShop Roundup LL now, because now we just essentially go through and pick a game that looks most appealing to us instead of going through all of them. And then we go through some news, and then usually there's a topic of the show, which could be listener mail, could be developer dive, going back and looking at a random peripheral through Nintendo's history. So that's sort of mix and match and sort of different each week. But yeah, it's usually about 2 hours, give or take. Sometimes a little shorter, sometimes a little longer, and it's every week. And yeah, we have a blast. And I mean, I love podcasting and talking about Nintendo, so it's something we really enjoy doing.
That's great. That's great. And you guys are part of another like Nintendo World Report or something like that. Like, I'm not real familiar with that site, so maybe you can tell us about it.
So Nintendo World Report is more, quote unquote more standard, right, media outlet for Nintendo, where reviews, previews, and stuff. And it's funny, we were friends with them, and we were like, hey, like, would you host our podcast? And they're like, yeah, like, of course, no problem. And then I guess about 6 months later or so, I could be wrong on the timetable, but essentially they were like, hey, like, if you want to join the staff, like, by all means. And that was right before the Switch launch, actually. So we're like, yeah, let's do it, man. Like, that sounds great. And so we do reviews through there. We do video reviews, and Nintendo World Report just had its 20th anniversary, so it's been around for forever. It used to be Planet GameCube, Planet N2000, like, so it's been around a few different iterations, but it's been Nintendo World Report for a while now. But yeah, that's more of our, we do reviews and more general media content, or in that sense, but which is great, because then it's like, I love doing reviews as well. So it's like the podcast is great because I get to talk about games we've been playing, and then through the website get to do more written and video reviews and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
I like it, man. That's very cool. Very cool. So NintendoWorldReport.com?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I'll make sure to get in the notes too. So that's
cool.
Yeah, super cool. So let's step back. Step back a little bit. Let's get in the time machine here.
Alrighty.
What's your history with Nintendo? Where to start? What console?
My earliest memories, I mean, like, we had an NES, and I remember playing that, but like, to me, what I think sparked my love of Nintendo was the Super Nintendo. Fittingly enough, on your t-shirt there, my brother got A Link to the Past for his birthday, and I remember he had a bunch of friends like sleeping over, were playing it, and I was just like, this game's incredible, and just that's a game every couple of years, like, I bust out, and it's like, I just got to play through it, even if I don't play all the way through, just a little bit. It's such a magical game, right? The dark world, so good. And that sort of was the beginnings, but it was also really great for N64, because it was, my brother's 5 years older than I am, and we had a neighbor, my direct next door neighbor, and they had two boys, 1 year older than me and then 1 year younger than my brother. So all four of us would always play games together, and that was N64, right? So it was like,
yes,
it was literally perfect, like Gauntlet Legends, like, we played the living crud out of that game, like, so many, like, obviously Bond, GoldenEye, Mario Kart, like, all these games, so it just sort of, it was like, I'm in on Super Nintendo. Then it was like, oh my God, N64, you know what I mean? And then the train just kept going,
So did you play a lot of Luigi then, being the younger brother?
Oh yeah, yep. I was a Ouija man, unfortunately. And it's funny. It's like when like my brother sort of fell out of gaming, and like I'd be like, well, now I'm duh. And then I like stopped to think about it. I was like, why do I want to be Mario? Like, what's so special about that guy? You know what I mean? Now it's in Mario Kart, so he's Shy Guy.
Oh,
actually, yeah.
Gotcha.
I got all sorts of Shy Guy loving over here.
Nice.
I love that little guy.
That's cool. That's cool. So, what would you say is your favorite console then?
Oh man, yeah. So this is, I feel like it's probably bounced around a whole bunch all over the years. Like, depending when you ask me, right?
Yep.
It's tough. It is definitely tough. But I think the DS is my favorite. And like, I mean, if you want to be like the cheapo answer, but well, the 3DS can play all my DS games. But I think the DS was sort of that time in my life when, like, it's like I've gone from just loving Nintendo to like I'm following E3. I'm on like the Insider forums on like the official Nintendo. Like I am knee deep in this Nintendo goodness, right?
Yeah.
And that was also around the time when I first got a job. I was a caddy, and what the best thing about being a caddy was they paid you in straight cash. So it was just like, all right, like made my $50, like better go over to GameStop and pick up a game, you know? It's like, so I have a stupid amount of DS games, like the most ludicrous games, like why would you buy that? But it was just like that time of my life where I was like, no, I can and I will buy any game possible, because it's just like I remember the Insider forums, they were giving away, like, I guess it was sort of like a beta, right? Almost. They were giving away Nintendogs to like select users.
Okay.
And I wanted it so bad. I remember like I was like, I need this, like checking all the time, and I didn't get it. I was so upset.
Oh no.
But yeah, I bought that game like the second it came out too.
You know, it's funny you say DS, because that is a system that like that my boys grew up with, right? Like they were really young. I actually have I think I've talked about it. I have video of my son getting the DSi XL, and he is so overwhelmed by emotion he just starts crying. Like he is
I would too. That's a great system.
He's so excited, right? And so, but like Clubhouse games, that was played so much. The bowling in that game, you had like chess and checkers, and there was just so many little mini games. I wish that it was a series that needed a sequel on the 3DS. You know, there was just, we played so much Mario Kart, and I mean, remember when New Super Mario Brothers first, like it was like a 2D Mario is back. You know, like I remember I was so into Xbox achievements and everything, and and I can't put my DS down. Like I could not stop playing New Super Mario
Kart DS2 was so good.
Yeah,
and then that was like, and that was what started like, oh, Wi-Fi, like you play online, like, so like I was like, well, I got to buy a router, you know what I mean, a wireless router and stuff. So I'm like learning all that, and it's sort of funny to be like, Nintendo got me on Wi-Fi before it was just like a common thing that everyone uses, you know.
Yeah, they sold that little stick or whatever that you
yeah, the dongle, yeah.
Oh, I gotta get one of those. That needs to be in my collection.
So good.
So, you maybe you touched on it, but favorite games or series?
Well, I mean, it's got, I mean, Zelda, right? Everyone, you know, Zelda is my bread and butter for sure. It's like I love Mario to death. You know, I love obviously the big staples. But Zelda has always been like my true love, of where it's like Majora's Mask, you know, like unbelievable game, you know, like obviously Ocarina of Time, like all the game, even like I replayed through Twilight Princess when it came out on Wii U, that, you know, the remaster or the HD version was like just so good, you know, like I Triforce Heroes, man, like unbelievable. But other games, it's like Fire Emblem was like a really big game for me. Up until sort of recently, I think I've had a little bit of a burnout with it. Like I had that on Game Boy Advance and played all the games throughout. But right now, Xenoblade is definitely skyrocketing up the charts for me.
Yes.
Xenoblade 2 is my favorite Switch game. Like beats out Zelda, man. Like Xenoblade 2 is so good.
Don't forget me. By the power of friendship. Did any of that drive you crazy?
I mean, I'm sort of used to it. Yeah, it's Roaring time, you know, like all the screaming and chanting. I just played through Lapis X Labyrinth for review for Nintendo World Report, and yeah, like every attack is just like hi yeah, like crazy screaming, and it's just like I feel like most people like this would bother, but like I don't know, I guess I just tune it out.
I got you.
But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it's got to be Zelda, you know? And I know that's probably a lot of people's answer, but it's just so good. So good.
No, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. What, if you could, and maybe you got a couple, but if you could narrow it down, what's one of your favorite Nintendo memories?
Ooh, okay, that's a tough one. Um,
So think it could be maybe a Christmas gift. It could be maybe the time you and your brother and your two buddies were playing GoldenEye till the wee hours of the morning, whatever the case may be. Like, so, you know.
Okay, because I can think of a couple that like random little bits that stand out in my mind. One with Gauntlet Legends. This isn't my favorite, but I remember staying home sick from school, and just literally playing it all day. And then that was the first. My brother was like, "You gotta come check out this TV show. It's like little cartoon characters cursing," and that was the first time I ever saw an episode of South Park. But I think there were probably two moments, and they're both Christmas related. The first was N64. It's like all we wanted, right? We wanted it so bad. And this would have been, so it came out in September. It wasn't that first Christmas. It would be the following Christmas.
Gotcha.
So it had already been out for a year and change. And we, like we were banking on it. Like, we need this, right? But my mom's going to get it for us. And like we opened every gift and no N64,
No.
And I remember like what a turd, like it just had a Christmas, like, I'm sure we had got tons of great gifts, like a wonderful Christmas. And I just remember sitting on the couch, like sulking, like a little spoiled brat, and my mom was like, and me and my brother, just like, you could tell we were bummed, and my mom was like, she's like, "You guys suck," and she went and pulled another box out of the room, and she was like, "I was gonna say, look what I found," like later on that day, and sure enough, it was an N64. And yeah, we were like, yes. And it's funny because in my old house, we had like the TV upstairs, and then like we all hung out in the basement, like a finished basement, and that TV didn't have the AV plugs. I only had through the cable connector. I forget exactly what you call it. Like you plug in through the cable.
Oh yeah, the RF.
And yeah, so like N64 didn't come with that, so we had to play upstairs, and that's sort of where my parents hung out. And that was like one of the few times I could remember my mom playing games with us, and like playing Mario Kart, and like raced around, and she loved Moo Moo Meadows.
Yes.
That was her favorite one with the cows. And then also with the GameCube, when that was shown off, Pikmin just like sealed it for me. I was like, Pikmin looks like the greatest game ever. Like, this was, I was like, I need to play this. And I guess again, it was sort of at that time where my mom's like, it's not happening, and I was still dumb enough to believe it, because my mom's a saint, pretty much. She never, like, Christmases were always bumping. My mom made sure of it, and but I was convinced, like, I'm not getting GameCube this year. And I was like, I've resigned my fate to a Game Boy Advance. I was like, it's a good second, Game Boy Advance. Okay, we can roll with this. So like, sure enough, Christmas morning, we get to the last gift, and it's like, me and my brother are like, these must be the Game Boys, like, and we open it up, and it's the GameCube, and it was like, oh my God, and freaking Pikmin. And then I remember, like, I must have gotten a gift card from someone else, and like picked up Melee the next day at the mall, and it's just like, again, I remember just playing Melee for so long. Oh, those challenges too, the event matches. Yeah, those are probably the two that sort of stick out the most. Yeah, like I said, my mom, I love her to death. She always made sure Christmas was good.
Love it, man. That's great. That's great. So here's a fun question. What is a Nintendo game that you haven't played or haven't completed that we're all going to judge you for?
Ooh, all right. Let me think. One that I haven't played, and this is probably, I'm trying to think. I mean, for a while it was Mario 64. Ironically enough, I never had that on N64, and so the
Same.
first time I actually played through that game was on the DS.
I didn't beat it till last year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. I'm trying to think what's a good example.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a Zelda game or a Mario game.
No, yeah.
We had somebody on here that loved RPGs but hadn't played like Chrono Trigger.
Oh,
right.
Well, I'm a big RPG fan too. I played Chrono Trigger on the DS not too long ago. I mean, I guess at this point it's probably like 2 years ago, and it was one of those like I always kept trying to play. And like it just didn't click, and I was like, I don't get why everyone says it's the greatest game ever. And then the one time it finally clicked, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
There you go.
I guess one sort of staying on the RPG train that I am a little ashamed of never seeing through, and honestly, like never even really getting all that far in, would be Final Fantasy 3 for Super Nintendo, or 6 with their weird naming conventions.
Right.
And because like arguably people will tell you that's the best in the series. And yeah, it's just, again, it's one of those, like I started it up on my Super Nintendo Classic not too long ago, and like just something else came up, and it was like, I wish they would release that for Switch, man. Just give us everything on the Switch. It'd just be so much easier.
Right.
I'm trying to rack my brain to see if there's any better examples than Final Fantasy 3, but you've put me on the spot, and now you know what's gonna happen. The second we hang up, we're done with. Like I'm like, oh, the most obvious one of all time, you know?
Right. You've never played Mario Kart or something?
I guess I never played Mario Kart Wii.
Oh,
that was a game, and then again a series that it's like I've played every single Mario Kart. But yeah, the Wii was sort of my weird time of not playing, like, because I started college in August 07.
Okay.
So it was like I got the Wii on launch day. I was super into it, and then just for whatever reason, I get college and whatever. Because that was sort of with Skyward Sword. I remember buying it and like playing it, and like just not like sort of letting it go to the wayside. And I was just like, what are you doing? It's like, this is a Zelda game, dude. Like, no, you're not letting this fall to the wayside. Like, fuck up. And like, so there's definitely some Wii games I haven't played.
About Galaxy.
Yeah, I went through the Galaxy games.
Okay.
I mean, Metroid, Other M, I haven't played that, but people probably wouldn't judge me for that. I know that's sort of
some people will judge you for playing it. So
yeah, mixed reviews.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess Mario Kart Wii would be sort of a big one, but like you sort of get to play the levels in other iterations of it, so it's like. Yeah. And like I don't need to steer with the Wii wheel,
No, I get it.
I'm using tilt controls.
I feel like we're not able to really judge you all that much. Like you've
I've hit them all. Yeah, unjudgeable. Yeah.
Metroid Prime, you've played all those?
I guess I've probably never beaten 3, but honestly, I need to go back. Prime is such a weird, like I played through the first 2, I know for sure. The third one I have, and I don't think I beat it, but like my whole memory is fuzzy on that. I would love to replay, and with 4 coming up, and hopefully the trilogy being released on the Switch at some point
with no motion controls, please.
Yeah, I could see that being something this E3, especially since obviously Prime's going to be pushed to 2020, right? Like there's no way that game's coming out this year.
Or I don't even think. I think 2020 is a little optimistic even. So we'll see.
Well, we got Plumber says we could just judge you for my Jets hat instead of the game. So.
Yeah, of course. You got to. Anytime football's involved, watch out. Out.
Like I said, at least the Giants are just taking the mantle as the crappy New York team. So they're setting the bar real low. So we're over that. I feel like we got that going for us.
All right, man. Well, hey, thank you for taking the time, man. It's been fun.
No, thank you for having me. This a pleasure, man. And like anytime, if you ever want to come on the show, you feel like BS and Nintendo for 2 hours.
Yeah,
we'd love to have you.
For sure. Well, let's wrap this thing up here. So, Casey, tell us all the places we can find you.
Alrighty, you can find myself on Twitter at case_jets, just like the hat. Then you could also find, more importantly, I should say, you could find Talk Nintendo Podcast on Twitter at Talk Nintendo Pod. It's Talk Nintendo POD. We're on like Instagram too as Talk Nintendo Podcast. We just started that up, but pretty much anywhere is going to be for Talk Nintendo is going to be best through Twitter. And then on YouTube at Nintendo World Report TV, we post every episode up there. So if you prefer to listen on YouTube, where I'm there, as well as video reviews we're doing and other stuff that pretty much anything video wise is going to be on Nintendo World Report TV. So and then of course, if you want to read like some weirdo, the written reviews go up at nintendoworldreport.com.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, guys, make sure to go check that. The podcast is everywhere, right? iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on Spotify. I think we were trying. I feel like I never heard back from them. But yeah, like iPod, like iTunes and Google Play and stuff, it's all up there. Like I said, on Nintendo World Report, there's direct link, and YouTube, it's up there as well. So
Gotcha.
It's pretty easy to find.
Gotcha. Get that thing on Spotify. It'll increase your downloads significantly.
Yeah, I know, that's the holy grail. So
yeah, you only have to have 5 episodes. They're pretty easy to deal with now. So if it was a while ago, it's much easier now. So.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to redo that. Yeah, I think it was a while back when it was a little. I don't know if they were more selective or what their deal was, but yes. So Spotify soon.
Yeah, even Captain Grisman in chat is like, yeah, Spotify. So there you go. Cool. Well, guys, you can follow me all the places at N64Josh, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, Twitch. It's all N64Josh. And if you want to follow this show, it's at NPowercast. Guys, there is a new podcast in the works. There's going to be a lot of work happening this weekend while I'm out of town, writing some scripts and things like that for the Super Mario Maker podcast. Hoping the first episode or 2 will be out hopefully by Monday. We'll see. But it's just gonna be kind of a soft launch, and then we'll get it rock and rolling once I hit 5 episodes. So, but coming soon. All right, if you want to find the show notes for this episode to be able to check out where you can find Casey or any of his stuff, it's going to be n64josh.com/npc210. If you want to email the show, it's npc@n64josh.com. Going to get you that free book from Audible, audibletrial.com/npc. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We will see you next week. Bye now.